Sweet. All right. Anyone on YouTube watching, can you guys leave a comment real quick? Make sure this is our first live stream. Did a test run this morning just to make sure. But we have 3 special guests. You just load up the YouTube stream. And then we have James here as well. So you guys are in the background right now. I'm going to talk to everyone for a few minutes, and then we'll talk individually about the 3 different sports. Sweet. We have Rage 508. We have the Palooza. I think I pronounce it. We have Gamer Time Gallery. Welcome, guys. So this is a very fun edition of hosting. I didn't even have a YouTube channel this time last year. I remember hearing about Hobby Palooza instead of the National, so it's really awesome to be on here. What's up, Sticks and Seams? What's up, Striker Cards? Hey, Game Time Gallery. What's up, Rick? So, guys, it's going to be a really great day. We have 3 collectors today from different sports. You guys see how I try to collect different sports out there, whether it's baseball, football, hockey, cricket, and I really enjoy vintage. So I wanted to share some knowledge today right here. Ryan, the only guy greater than Otani. That's pretty funny. I'm definitely not greater than Otani. But here we have John Morton, who's going to be talking about golf. No, so I invited you into the stream, and then it crashed again. I don't know what happened. So no,
I was talking about myself.
I cut out. Yeah, no. So I guess my whole screen went black. I'm sorry, guys. This is my first time going on here live. I guess my internet's not too stable right here. I joined other podcasts and it's been fine, but maybe something was up for the last few minutes or so. But I think we're squared away. So,
all right. So I guess I'm gonna start things off. You didn't get me talking about John L. Sullivan?
I didn't. The stream probably did. So, we can talk a little bit about it real quick, like a really quick recap, and then we'll talk.
Quick recap. There's a 1901 Ogden's card. It's one of the largest set, bigger than the Monster T206 set, but it's not as popular because they didn't have anybody from baseball or anything like that. But it does have John L. Sullivan, who was a superstar in bare knuckle and glove boxing. He was a champion. And then
yes,
moving forward, I'm going to go to one of my favorite cards I have in my set. And this is Jack Johnson, his Mecca T218. As you could tell, it's a Mecca.
Beautiful card.
And these are from the same company who made the Mecca double folders. So you could tell it had a lot of nice art to it. And Jack Johnson was the first champion who was the black heavyweight champion. So he was a polarizing figure. And just to give you a little comparison to how different their sets were, here's a few cards from the era. And 1910 set itself apart from cards like this. And then I'm going to just move forward to the next champion, who I shared a couple cards of Jack Dempsey, the Manasseh Mauler. I have a video I made of him, of which Mike Tyson had his boxing style from. And then after that, I have Max Schmeling here. This is one of my favorite cards. It's 1932 Bulgaria Cigarettes. It's a very beautiful card. He's on Mother's Day having a breakfast with his mom. So when you have like these beasts that are known for bludgeoning people, he had the softest heart here with his mom. She actually looks like she's the tough guy in this picture. So it's kind of funny to me. And this card is issued in Germany. It's a pretty cool card. Most famous card in there is the one with Babe Ruth, but because it was out of Germany, Babe Ruth was only in the set because he was in the same picture with Max Schmeling. So moving on, I have this 1934 Gallagher card. It's a tobacco company from the UK. Primo Carnera was very famous for being one of the biggest boxers of the time. And he actually measures 6'7", and he has the world heavyweight title record of knocking out 72 opponents out of 89 wins. So he was a beast. He was also famous for being tied with the mob. He was like an enforcer for the mob, and he was implicated in a lot of throne fights. So he has a little bit of a dark cloud with him. But then next, I'm going to move on to these cards, which are the Churchmans, and they're very popular, like the T206s. A lot of people collected these Churchmans. And I have Max Baer.
Now those are 38s, right?
Yes, 1938. And Max Baer was the champ. And he's very famous for beating Max Schmeling. And then Cinderella Man, James J. Braddock, beat Max Baer. So he was very popular for that. And he was supposed to fight Max Schmeling, but instead ended up fighting Joe Louis, who Joe Louis won the belt. And then he ended up defending his title twice to Max Schmeling. So there's like a nice little circle between the four fighters. And that's why I like these four cards over here. And they're very similar to the T207s and the way that they look with the chocolate brown ink. So I think those are pretty cool pre-war cards. So those are my pre-war cards. And then after that, you move on to the 50s where they're very popular cards like this rookie card.
Rocky.
Right. I think you have that one, right?
Yeah, I do. So I have a lot of those cards that you end up showing me. I don't have all of them over here off to the side, but I wanted to talk a little bit about them after we go over them.
Yeah, and then someone had mentioned this card, the Allen and Ginter Pacquiao card. So this is moving on to modern times compared to what I just showed you. But that's pretty much the bulk of the pre-war. And I like collecting them because of the history of boxing. It was more popular than baseball, in all honesty. And you could kind of trace the champions from one to the next with them. And the fact that they have very scarce cards, you have to really dig and look for them. It makes it a little bit fun. They're a little bit more affordable in some instances to baseball and very unique to say the least. So this is like my fallback, like my little girlfriend compared to the wife. The baseball cards are my wife, but boxing cards are like my little side chick and my little plan, my plan C when it comes to collecting. Every now and then I go looking for boxing cards and I see what I could find.
Nice. So let's go over some comments real quick, and then we'll talk a little bit some more about. I especially want to talk about Ogden's because one thing that makes the Ogden special is it connects all three sports we're going to be talking about today. There's also Ogden's golf cards, and there's also Ogden's cricket cards. So that set, while it didn't have baseball, it had many other sports as well. And I just want to touch about that a little bit. So let's go over some of these comments real quick and see over here. So we'll start over here. There's a ton of them over here. So Shomei says, love those mechas. Absolutely. I didn't even realize at first until James told me that it was the same exact company. I know a lot of these different companies printed for multiple sports, but it's kind of interesting with that. I wish they made those mechas like that for baseball. Tops Vintage says, it's all you, James.
Thank you, Brian.
Otto says, that is a beautiful card. Don't remember exactly which card you commented that on. There's a lot of comments coming through, but probably the Ogden's one. I love it. I have one of those in my collection. I picked it up at the Bay Area card show with the Jack Johnsons as well. So I finally got those cards. I remember when we were talking about it in Dallas, like, dude, I need to pick these up at a show. I haven't seen them, and I looked out. I had both, so I was really happy with that. Rolling blackouts are creating a heat wave. Well, I'm in Florida, so I probably have the heat wave coming through right now. Got to get to that lightning.
There we go, Big T. I know he likes these boxing cards.
Oh, yeah. I said it earlier in this stream. Grew up 2 streets away from my childhood of Broxton, Massachusetts.
Right.
Which guy was that?
I don't know which one he's referring to.
Let's go over the next one. So I can watch boxing cards for 51 minutes. Oh, man, it definitely could. But we have a few other guests that we have on as well. John and then Golden Valley, and they have to talk about their sports as well. So we heard that. Broxton Boxers, the stream did. So this is probably when my stream ended up passing. Rocky Marciano. Yeah, so Rocky, really awesome card. I mean, if you think about this, what makes this 51 ringside really cool, it's kind of like the mantle of boxing cards because this was Topps' first year producing a full set for boxing. I know they made cards, the 48/49 Topps Magic. PSA and everything calls it a 48 set, but on Topps' website calls it 49. So I'm not sure what's going on with that discrepancy. But in 51, Topps made their first full set for boxing when they still made the red and blue backs with baseball and also the team sets. So boxing came first before baseball cards. Rocky's the best rookie in there.
This is one of my favorites, Ali.
There we go. Probably In Florida, yeah, dude, it's been really bad right before him. I mean, it's been raining nonstop. It cleared up shortly before the stream, but it could have been something along the lines with that. Sticks G, awesome. Thanks for being here, man. That's dope. Marvelous Marvin Hagler, my favorite 6.
Oh, I got a haggler in there somewhere. I'll have to look.
Show me the Iron Mike or Hector. You got your Mike Tyson's over there.
I got a Mike Tyson. Let me see.
All right, let's see it. But guys, how are you liking this format so far? I'm sorry for the technical difficulties in the beginning, but just let me know what you guys think. Anything you want to see improved, because I want to have on more collectors on the channel.
I have that Mike Tyson. I have Floyd Patterson.
Really cool.
Very popular boxer. And I have I think that's Marvin Hagler. And I have a bunch.
And Rage says, Rep Marvin Hagler, best middleweight pound for pound.
There goes Frazier.
Joe Frazier. Nice.
That's Tyson's rookie card. Not his rookie sticker, his rookie card. And
see, I know my boxing.
His Triple G. Everybody likes Triple G lately. Here's my favorite boxer right now.
Oh, Alvarez.
Yeah.
So Cards Gun and Collectibles said Sullivan would never fight Jack Johnson. He offered to fight Johnson in a bar cellar.
Sullivan was old by then.
Yeah, all those boxing legends back then. You hear all these stories. I mean, the same with Jeffries. Jeffries was way out of shape when he fought Jack Johnson.
Right.
He was like 100 pounds overweight and they lost it. And I think, 6 months or a year? Don't remember the full story, but kind of interesting with that one.
He came, I think he was out of boxing for 6 years, and he had to lose close to 100 pounds to get into fight shape. Like 60 or 100 pounds just to fight Jack Johnson.
That's crazy. So show me some Sam Langford. He's one of the pre-war guys I don't own yet. I need to pick up some of his cards. I haven't seen him at a show yet. How about you? Do you have any of his?
No.
No, not yet.
No, my boxing is pretty good, but not that deep.
So waiting for some early Joe Louis. So I actually have some early Joe Louis cards. I have them stored away right now. But if you check out my Instagram, I have a 36 and a 37. I picked them up also at a Dallas show. They're really cool with those. Tommy Hearns had some whack hair though. Rocky used to jog to his fights and then come back early days, like 5 to 10 miles. That's so cool. Break someone's face and jog home. See, there's a wrestler. So I guess one of your boxers is a wrestler with that one.
Primo Carnera, I think he's the wrestler too. Yeah, he used to act. He was just a
Primo, yeah.
Yeah, he was a sideshow.
And it says also Motor City Cobra, Tommy Hearns. And then Shomei says Primo is also a professional wrestler and is in those 50s Parkers. So that's interesting. I didn't know about those Parkers. Like I was saying, do some research into those.
Nah,
wow, that's cool.
There's another good one.
Oscar De La Hoya.
The Golden Boy. Gotta love him.
Yeah. I think all those boxers were tied with the mob. I'm going to agree with that one right there. Boxing was a very, very dirty sport back then.
Very dirty.
I'm great hearing the stories about those legends. Think about cardboard, right? Like it's more than just the picture and the card itself. It's about the stories that are attached to it. It's like like the 1910 Jack Johnson and Jeffries. That was the year of their famous fight. That makes those cards very famous. I mean, they each had cards before 1910. I think Jack Johnson's rookie was in 1909, and Jeffries, exactly his rookie, maybe
he had it in the
I don't know his top rookie at top end.
In the Ogden.
So he had an Ogden. Okay. So his Ogden was 1901. So even though he had rookies back then, I mean, a lot of people recognize those cards as some of the most important cards in their career because of that big fight. And that fight really popularized boxing as well.
Right.
Shomei said he picked up 25 Churchmans at a yard sale for $10. Can't go wrong with that, even if there's no stars, man. Stick says that's an awesome card. JJB. How it goes, Sticks. Let's go. Right, we are. Bear's son was in the Beverly Hillbillies. That's funny. And then we have, they say Dempsey fought Jack Johnson underground fight for a bunch of rich people. Oh, I need to
Probably
hear about the
so.
story. Do you know anything about that story? I'm
I
gonna write
think
that down. Johnson.
I think I heard something like that, but it wasn't publicized, so it's a lot of hearsay, a lot of rumors. But yeah, I heard something like that too.
Wow, that'd be really cool with that one. Jethro, we're gonna go through a few more comments, guys, real quick, and then we're gonna bring on our next collector as well. And thanks again, James, for coming out. Sorry, guys, for the technical difficulties in the beginning, but we're gonna have a lot of fun with this next one. So, Sticks, it was pretty good. We have Rocky 49 throwing hammers, died in his prime. Absolutely. I mean, I think Rocky's very underrated. Think about it too. I mean, I'm not 100% sure, but I think the Rocky movies were named after him as well. First set for the Topps cards. I think it's a great card.
Man.
Bronx Bomber, hot, in sunny Florida. Is the best Marciano card to pick up? Yeah, so pick up that card right there, the 51.
Yeah.
Pop's actually pretty low on it too. I don't remember on top of my head, but I think it was like a Pop 500. So it's kind of low compared to other cards as well. What's up,
Right.
Clay? Thanks for coming here. I have a graded 48 Leaf Jess Willard. I like the 48 Leafs. People don't realize they made boxing cards. They also made football cards as well in that set besides baseball. So everyone knows the Leaf because of the Jackie Robinson rookie card, the 48-49, on top of others as well, like the Stan Musial. But it's a really cool set. Dobie's in there as well. A few other players too. Dude could have been a 70-0 if he didn't pass so young. And then where's the other ones? I think I just passed a few comments, but we'll have a few more minutes real quick and start talking.
I'm surprised at how many people follow boxing.
Yeah, we have 45 people in here as well. So this is really cool. I mean, in sports, it's really, really fun. So Rocky movie was based off of Mayo Bleeder Chuck Wepner. Okay, so Chuck Wepner. So Ali, Lewis, and Robinson. They're gonna make Rocky movie as we speak. There's so many comments going through. Oh my god, this is so fast. So, all right, James, is there anything else you want to talk about on the boxing side thing? If you have a clung into boxing right now, what tip of advice would you give them? And then we're going to bring in our next guest over here, John. He's going to be talking about golf carts.
Well, I would try to collect as many as you can, but research it. Make sure you're going to appreciate the boxer that you're going to collect, and they're still relatively affordable, especially given how old these cards are. And you can find them and appreciate them just as much as you appreciate any other sport. And I just love it because they're very scarce, and not a lot of people have them. So it's something I myself feel like I could appreciate on my own. But I think it's an untapped resource when it comes to an avenue for collecting. And there's so much history to it. Aside from baseball, it doesn't get deeper than boxing. That's why I love it. It's so deep.
Absolutely. So Sticks asked, what's a good boxing card to get into if you're starting out? So for me personally, if you're starting out, my favorite card, at least right now in my PC, is the 1910 Jack Johnson, just because it's such an important card history-wise. I mean, you have the stigma of Jack Johnson beating this fighter, racism throughout the entire country with that one. Top of it, you're talking about an early pre-war card, full picture. This is his second year of cards as well. And then you can pick up the Jeffries dirt cheap as well, and you can get that famous fight within the cards itself. I mean, if you think about like the most famous boxing fights all time, I mean, you have some of the Ali fights, but then you also have the Jack Johnson fight. So for me personally, that's the number one card to get into, besides the Rocky one from 51 as well, if you're talking about post-war cards. So if you're looking to get into boxing, I'd say those two cards are your first ones. And right now, they're relatively affordable. I know some of the other later cards are really expensive, like some of the Floyd Mayweather rookies, the Tysons are so through the roof. But you can pick up these vintage cards for pennies on the dollar, and I think you should.
Right.
All right. So, guys, check out James, his YouTube channel, Elite Hunters on YouTube. He's going to also have a vlog Dallas Card Show next weekend. And on Friday, we're actually going to be on his channel. We're going to be talking about cards once they fly in. So Friday night, get off work and fly out to Dallas, and I'll be on that live stream. So thanks again, man. I really appreciate it. And we're going to be bringing in John. John, you ready? Give me a thumbs up. Awesome, guys. So we're going to bring in John right now, who also collects golf cards. So a little bit different than boxing, kind of on the absolute extremes, except in sport. We have fighting versus swinging a club. So, all right, we're bringing in John. Thanks again, James.
Thank you for having me.
And there we go. And we have John Morton. Hey, how's it going?
Hey, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. So, guys, John is a big golf collector on Twitter. He's always posting about golf cards that he picks up. What's your Twitter handle so people know?
So it's my full name and then my area code, actually. So it's at John Morton 215 on Twitter.
Awesome. So, guys, before we start, make sure to head over to Twitter, give John a follow. Busy spending some time here going over his PC and talking about golf, which I really, really appreciate. There's not a ton of golf content on YouTube, especially older cards. And I want John as the guest for today. So thanks again, John. So, John, do you want to take me a little bit through your collection, some of the cards that you've picked up, kind of history behind the cards, things like that?
Yeah, for sure. And again, appreciate you having me on. It's, as you pointed out, a good bit of my collection is golf, but not just golf, but pre-war golf. I do have a couple post-World War II cards in the sport, but vast majority of it is pre-war. And a little bit of background as to why I specifically collected. I actually used to work in the golf industry. I was a golf professional for close to 10 years. So I've been around the game my whole life, even before I worked in the industry. So it was a natural thing for me to start collecting quite a while ago. But I've always been fascinated by pre-war cards, the history behind them, the history behind not just the artistry or the players, but also the sets themselves, how they came into existence. I've been fascinated by it. So I've got quite a collection, but I've got a half a dozen or so specific things to kind of share with everybody today and kind of talk a little bit about the history. But I'll start. I know that Elite shared his oldest card in his set, and I know it was a 1901 Ogden's card. I don't have any 1901 Ogden's cards, but I'm going to one-up them a little bit. I've got a 1900 golf card here, and I want to try to adjust my camera here so everybody can see it.
I learned from Jeremy's Sports Card Live, if you put your card like that, it shows a lot better with the glare.
Yeah.
So
the interesting thing about golf cards, and I did get, for anybody noticing, I did get this graded by CSG recently. But the interesting thing about golf cards is that there's a lot of non-golfer specific cards. There's a lot that are just hand-drawn. They're cartoonish. There's a lot of artistry behind it. So that's one of the other things that just draws me to it is the drawings behind a lot of these. But this particular card that I just showed you guys is from 1900 from a specific Will's cigarette set that it was a multi-sport set. Like most sets that involve the game of golf, there are not many golf dedicated sets out there. Only a handful that I can think of off the top of my head, but most golf pre-war cards that you find are going to be mixed into multi-sport sets or even non-sport sets. So this one in particular. Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, not to interrupt you, but those golf only sets, that's what, like the Copes, and then also I think it's I had over here, I can't remember the other name, but I know the Copes, right, from 1923 as well.
Yeah, and I've got a card here, just a little bit from Millbank cigarettes that was from a golf dedicated set. But yeah, there's only a handful out there, and that's again what makes it interesting. But with this sport in particular, what makes it even that much more challenging to find, because you can't necessarily look for golf specific sets and go set hunting like a lot of people do with the hobby. So I've got that card. One of my favorites in my entire collection, though, is this guy right here. It's from 1937, and this is a picture of the Duke of York, soon to be King of England, playing a round of golf at a golf course in Wales, actually. But this picture was taken. One of the reasons I love this card is this picture was taken in 1924, about a dozen years before that man would eventually become the King of England. But the golf course that picture was taken at is the golf course that invented a specific type of scoring in the game of golf. So most people know the game of golf as, just what's called stroke play. You hit the ball until you get it in the hole. Number of times you hit it is your score. That's stroke play. Match play is also very well known. You're playing against a specific individual. But there's a third commonly known way to score the game of golf and play the game of golf called Stableford. And it's a scoring method that was actually invented at the golf course that this photo was taken at. So again, just going back to the history of pre-war cards, it's one of the reasons I absolutely love it, because if it wasn't for this card, if it wasn't for acquiring this and doing the research behind that round, that photo, where it was taken, I would never have known where the Stableford scoring format was actually created. So just one of those ways that I've nerded out in the game, but also in the hobby behind the history of some of these cards.
Oh, that's really awesome. So if you guys saw also last weekend, I picked up some of my first graded golf cards. I have a few others in my collection, but I didn't really show them off the channel. And I know we're going to talk a little bit later about Will Cigarette as well with Golden Valley. So funny enough, they also made a bunch of cricket cards just because they angled in with that. So I want to show two cards real quick that I had off the side. One's pre-war, the other one's not, but it's a 51, actually 52 Wheaties. But first is a Walter Hagen right here. So you can check this out. This is from the Sports King set from 1933. If you guys follow Sports Kings as well, it was a mixed set. They had baseball in there. They had cycling in there. They had golf. They had hockey as well. And this pet actually picked up a hockey card for that. But I don't want to really spoil it. But this is one of those sets as well out there that we're talking about how golf is in these multi-sport sets. And you have the Hagen right here, which is one of your big four names, which I want to talk a little bit about that as well. And this is a 52 that I wanted to show off as well. It's a Sam Snead. Put it a little bit closer.
From the Wheaties
these are
set,
hand-cut cards from the Wheaties. Yeah, so these really, really pop. There's also some basketball cards in here too, but I just love these type of cards. I mean, they just so talking about pre-war golf, at least for my research, there's about like 4 or 5 different big names that people go out there and collect. I want to hear about your little input on that. So I've heard at least people collect Varden, people also collect Jones, Hagen, and then Old Tom Morris. Is there any other players that you want to put on there as well, and maybe talk about a little bit of the history of those guys?
Yeah, so it's funny funny that you just got a Walter Hagen in the Sports King. So that's one of the other ones that I was going to show.
Oh, that's awesome.
For me personally, it's my favorite card in my collection, in my pre-war golf collection. And if you look close enough, you can see this card is in terrible condition.
That's all right.
It's a 1 from PSA, but as the common phrase goes, the common cliche in the hobby goes, buy the card, not the grade. And in this case, When I had the opportunity to pick this one up, I was absolutely wanting it, not necessarily a specific grade. So that's my absolute favorite. But you're right with Varden. That is Harry Varden is a commonly known name. A lot of people will recognize that name if you've seen the movie The Greatest Game Ever Played. Francis Ouimet, famous amateur golfer, the only amateur to win the U.S. Open in golf history in 1913. He won in a playoff against Harry Varden and a player named Ted Ray or Edward Ray. Ted Ray, I coincidentally actually just got my first Ted Ray card a couple days ago, so I'm looking forward to getting that. But yeah, there's a handful of players out there that are very well known from that era. The other interesting thing about that Sports Kings set, Ryan, that I always like to point out to people is that, yes, there are a handful of golfers in there, but that's most well known, most famous because it's one of Babe Ruth's most notable cards in his history. So when it comes to other golfers out there, I don't have Walter Hagen's the one player that I will say I've got a number of cards from. One of the other notable cards of his that I do have is from a set that Elite referenced earlier as being from Germany. It's commonly known either from Germany or Bulgaria, but it's another one of those multi-sport sets that's out there. It's several hundred cards that has anybody and everybody under the sun from that time period. And that particular set from 1932, I think it was 275, 280 total cards in the set, somewhere in that neighborhood. And Walter Hagen is one of 5 particular golfers to be found in that particular set. But the other card that I have of a specific person is not a very well-known golfer. And again, as I was saying earlier, golf pre-war cards, there are a lot of golfer non-name specific cards. A lot of them have are based on drawings, but this particular card, I'm going to try to hold it up here so people can read the name of the player on the screen. It's the Honorable Michael Scott, and fans of the TV show The Office will appreciate that for obvious reasons. That's partially one of the reasons I got it, because I love The Office. But Michael Scott was an actual golfer from England back in the early 1900s. And he is most known in the game of golf as being the oldest player to win the British Amateur Championship. He did so as a 55-year-old player. Wow. That record still stands this day. Is 55 is the oldest player to win the British Amateur Championship. So it's what he's most well known for, but that's also one of my favorite cards of a specific player. Again, for obvious reasons, in today's culture and society, because of The Office. I love The Office. have always loved the humor behind it. So when I saw that card, especially with the name Michael Scott on the front, I couldn't turn that one down.
Absolutely. So I'm going to go through some comments real quick, and then I want to ask you a few other questions real quick to get all that. Yeah. So let me go through these. We'll go over here and we'll start. So I think this was the first one. Yeah. So this is pretty much the first one right here. So who's the GOAT, Nicklaus or Tiger?
My GOAT, in my personal opinion, it's Tiger. Tiger is more dominant, was more dominant in his prime than Nicklaus or anybody else ever. Back in the day, I don't think betting sports books would have taken Jack versus the field like betting sports books did with Tiger versus the field in certain tournaments and majors in the early 2000s. So it's Tiger for me, without a doubt.
Okay. So, all right, next one is Bobby Jones and Walter Hagen. So, yeah, they're both in that 33 set. I'm still looking for a Bobby Jones. Maybe I'll get one at National. That's one of my goals right there. So, I need to make my list still, but that's towards the top of it.
It's at the top of my list as well. And what's interesting about that particular debate, a lot of people talk about Bobby Jones and the reverence there, and he absolutely did a lot for the game. But Walter Hagen actually won more majors than Bobby Jones. Walter Hagen is third on the all-time majors list. He won 11 of them. So he can't necessarily be discredited in that type of argument.
Yeah, I was going to say the one thing with Bobby Jones, though, is he retired so young. I mean, if he played his whole entire life like a lot of these other players do, what could he have accomplished? Oh,
absolutely.
I need to.
No, you're good. With a Tawny Legends comment here, I love Robin Williams' take on golf. It is one of the best comedy skits and segments ever. His take on the game of golf is an absolute riot, and one that never gets old.
Yeah, let me just change my thing real quick into here so it has my name on there just while it cools down. That's the only problem with having your camera as a webcam. Sometimes it overheats. We talked about, all right, so I love Robin Williams' take on golf. So this guy says the GOAT is Bobby Jones. Then we have over here Vijay Singh.
Yeah, Vijay is obviously a great player from 90s and early 2000s. I've actually was fortunate to play one time with him quite a while ago, but he's a tremendous player.
Nice. And I know you talk about playing a lot. What's actually your favorite course that you've played on?
That's a great question. So my favorite course I would probably have to say is TPC Sawgrass down in Florida. I worked there. I did an internship there when I was in college, and was fortunate to be able to play there anytime I wasn't working. I absolutely love that track. I only had one goal when I worked there, and that was to play a round of golf without losing a golf ball. Never accomplished it.
I could imagine that one. So Todd's Vintage asks, does John think Tiger Woods will be back and compete at a high level again?
That's a great question, Tops Vintage. I do think he'll be back. I even before his accident, I thought the only tournament that he was going to have a chance to really compete at is the Masters, and I still stand by that. I think it might take a year or two before he's back, but I could absolutely see him coming back and competing at the Masters. He knows that course better than anybody on the planet, anybody living on the planet. So I think if anybody could do it, Tiger could.
Nice, nice. So I'm going through the comments really quick just because we're running out of time. So that's James' channel, by the way, Elite Hunters. Make sure to subscribe to him. Give him some love over there. And then 33 Sports King, all the major sports of the day. Yes, but there's no cricket cards. So that's the only unfortunate thing. And we're going to talk about that a little bit later. When will bowling legends pop? I don't know about bowling legends. I know alternative sports right now are getting a little more hot. I've been collecting them, but bowling's kind of super niche. Roy Munson. That. Shay. There you go. Rage. Yeah, so I want to say one last thing also, real quick. I came in any Arnold Palmer cards. Do you have any?
I actually don't. I only have a handful of post-war cards. I do have a Jack Nicklaus card. I will say one of the really neat post-war cards that I do have is actually of John F. Kennedy.
Really? Now, what set is that from?
So this is from a specific set that was made for about Kennedy's life the year after he was assassinated. And you can see on the back, you've got Congress. But it was a pretty decent sized set that was made in 1965. Because I believe he was assassinated in 64, if I remember right. But it was the year after he was assassinated. And it was a set that encompassed everything about his life. But that's the one card of him golfing. So, again, large sets, only a small portion of them are golf related. So,
hey, nice. And last thing, if you're brand new into golf collecting, what's like one or two cards you'd say recommend to get into? Any other last advice for them? And then we're going to be bringing on Golden Valley Sports. And then if you have anything else besides a Twitter that people can follow you on.
Yeah, for sure. And I'll go last to first there. So Twitter is the only social media that I'm on where I'm talking about the hobby regularly. So if I do expand that, I'll certainly put that on my Twitter channel, but highly recommend anybody that's interested in pre-war golf specifically to follow me. In terms of what to get into, there's really two sets that I would point out that I see fairly commonly. The set that this Walter Hagen card is from, that Bulgarian sports set, I do see not just the Walter Hagen card, but the other 4 or 5 golfers out there fairly commonly on eBay and other sales marketplaces. And then the set that this Michael Scott card came from, it's a 1934 Gallagher limited set. There's quite a few other golfers. I say quite a few. There's a handful of other golfers in that set that I see cards of fairly commonly. So what I typically recommend to people when you're trying to get into it is if you're in a marketplace like eBay, search for the actual phrase golf tobacco cards or golf cards and then sort by year. Because as we've talked about, and as was the case with boxing as well, they're mixed in with multi-sport sets. So it makes it tough to really find them. But once you start to get into it, you'll be able to learn the niches of where to look and where to get even more focused within the game.
Awesome. Well, thanks again. We're about to bring on Golden Valley. Golden Valley, you ready? Thumbs up. Awesome. So, all right, that's it for vintage golf. And now we're going to talk about vintage cricket. So
thanks so much, Ryan, for having me.
Hey, no problem. Thanks for coming on. That's awesome. Well, I'm going to grab a water real quick because I just ran out. But this is Golden Valley Sports. You're going to tell everyone like where they can follow you on Twitter. I think you have an Instagram as well.
Yeah, sure.
Don't remember.
Yeah,
and then
Twitter is.
Rebecca.
Oh, go ahead. My Twitter is at Gold Valley Cards, and my Instagram is Golden Valley Sports. And so I'm just really excited about, I talked to Ryan about this at the Dallas show, just, the history of cricket and then cricket going forward. I think, with the new leagues forming and starting later this month, I think, the potential and the eyes on cricket will continue to increase, especially in the US with the formation of the minor league, which will start the 31st. And then in England, the 100 new short format focused on England is starting the 21st. I think as these new formats that are, shorter, instead of having the test matches that can last days and days, those shorter format leagues, I think will, bring a lot more viewers and be a, more entertaining watch for sure.
Awesome.
Ryan, I was just talking about the new formats for cricket. You got like the 100 this in England, and then like minor league cricket is starting up later this month.
Sweet.
Excited about that.
Perfect. So do you want to show everyone some of the different cricket cards that you have and kind of go about the history about those players as well? Because you have an insane cricket PC and you just picked up some cards that I wish I got.
Yeah, I can show you those as well. So Don Bradman is kind of where I started collecting. So he's, sometimes referred to as the Babe Ruth of cricket. He has the highest average. Oh, I'm jealous of that one. I'm jealous of your 28 Ogdens. That's the card to own.
That is, I have it locked away, so I couldn't bring it out today, but I love that one there. I have a bunch of Bradmans.
But yeah, so Bradman, so he had an average of just below 100, and so he actually was over 100, went up for his last at bat and got a 0 or no runs scored. He only needed 4 to finish as the only player above 100 in his career, which is unfortunate, but he's, widely recognized as one of the best cricket players. He was also on the 1948 Australian team who went undefeated on their tour of England. So winning, 25 matches, drawing 9, no losses or no losses. So I think just, Bradman's kind of that icon. So what I like about this, the 1934, I mean, this is a, almost 90-year-old card, and it shows him wearing his iconic green hat. So this hat actually sold at auction in December for about $500,000. So it's just
insane,
just crazy. Yeah, so here's Wally Hammond. I have one of him. And then as far as modern, so the 100 recently released their first sets. So the 100's the new format starting end of July in England. It's also a new short format. And so they launched Topps UK has a new set of cards. So there's the limited editions are kind of the chase card there. And then also, for modern cricket attacks, I think we've talked about a bit is, here's Virat Kohli, couple cards of him. But I think really just the history, there's a really rich history going back, similar to baseball, over 100 years. And, looking at some of those GOATs, like Jack Hobbs, we also talked about a little bit. So that's his 1912 Smiths.
Jealous of that one. I wanted to pick that one up for a little bit.
Yeah, then I think this is the other one that I found that you were looking for is the Trumper there.
The Trumper. Yeah, I just picked up a 1903 yesterday on exactly what brand it was. But I do have his Ogden as well. I don't have that on me, but I do have another Ogden I wanted to show a little bit earlier. So we were talking about how the different Ogdens and everything like that were across between sports. So this is, I'm going to butcher his name, I promise you guys, but it's like Ranjit, I don't even know. I'm sorry, guys, but Ranjit or something like that. Very famous Indian cricketer. He's one of the guys that brought cricket over to India and also served in government as well. But there's a lot of different figures with vintage cricket and pre-war. It started producing like 1896, maybe a little bit before that. When was Grace's first card?
Yeah, it sounds about right. I think 1896 is correct. Yeah,
something like that. Yeah. So they also made some cabinet cards before that as well, but that's before the tobacco. So besides Bradman and Trumper, do you want to go over some of the different names that people want to know, the different stats as well that people want to look at when you're looking at cricket players, how to compare them?
Yeah, sure. So I think, one of the biggest things is to look at the different, formats. So I think international, you're mostly looking at those test matches. So you're looking at average runs scored probably. And so Bradman, is at 100. If you look down the leaderboard, I think second place is around, 66, 68. So there's a big difference drop off. But other names from pre-war that I like are Herbert Sutcliffe, Jack Hobbs, and Wally Hammond. Those are some of the other big names for runs. And then in modern, I think a lot of people look at the Fab Four. So that's going to be Virat Kohli from India, Joe Root from England, Kane Williamson from New Zealand, and Steve Smith from Australia. So those are kind of looked at as some of the premier players in today's game, and especially in the test matches. And then, of course, there's different leagues. So I think, the 100 forming this year, I think Major League Cricket will launch next fall. So it'll be interesting to see in the US, but I think the IPL is really the prime league currently. And that's a 2020 format and based out of India, the Indian Premier League.
Now, what are the Ashes, if people want to know that?
Yeah, so the Ashes is the historical test match between England and Australia. So that's one of the most historical matches. I believe is it every 4 years? You might have to refresh me on that one.
I think it's 2 or 4 years. I don't remember.
Yeah, but that's one of the best rivalries, and a really historical match that I think retrospectively goes back to the late 1800s.
And that's where we talk about Donald Bradman, and Bradman dominated it in the Ashes and really helped Australia go against the United Kingdom. So I had a few other questions as well. We're talking about major sets, and I think what makes cricket really interesting is it intersects between both golf and also it goes back into boxing. We talked about different things like Wilson, Ogden's players, and there's also another one I had over here in my notes. It was, I think those were the main three. Was there any other sets as well on top of your head that people need to look at for pre-war cricket and other sports that are in some of these different sets? Because I think it's kind of interesting how they all three of these sports kind of combine back in the tobacco age. Whereas like American cards right now, with America tobacco cards, mostly you have baseball cards, and the baseball sets really didn't add anyone else. If you look at the T206s or the T205s, you only have the American baseball players, and people always chase your Cobbs, your Walter Johnsons, your different players like Cy Young as well as Christy Mathewson. But with these different sets of players and the Ogdens, you have everything from boxing to cricket to golf, and I find it really interesting with that.
Yeah, definitely. I think the Ogdens are definitely going to be, top tier. I think Carreras is another interesting one just because they have the oval cards. I think those are, obviously the conditioning on those is going to be, really difficult. So I think those might emerge as well. But I think definitely like Ogden, Smiths, John players, I think Ogden's probably the top.
Absolutely. Now, I want to ask you a few other questions. So if you're brand new to cricket cards, what are some great resources to look at for cricket? Maybe your first card that you would recommend someone things like that. Some advice for someone that's newer to the sport.
Yeah, sure. So I think, looking at some of the stats, just the record tables, I think, Don Bradman is a great place to start. I think, he's widely regarded as, historically one of the best players. So, really anything, in the 30s, if you can find something great in good condition, I think that's a great place to start for vintage. And then kind of, that's where I started and kind of expand from there. So, if he's the Australian, I think Jack Hobbs is kind of what I look at as the kind of equivalent a little bit earlier, but from England. And then I think, just watching the modern game, some of these players in the modern game, have a big social media following. Virat Kohli is, basically a superstar in India, as well as, MS Dhoni, and, just looking at, the current IPL season and what's happening there, I think is another good place to start to pan, if you're more into vintage or what's happening today.
Absolutely. So I'm going to go over a few questions real quick. Guys, in 5 more minutes, Triple Crown 24 is going to be 6 o'clock. Make sure to check out his stream, the next guest on Hobby Palooza. And I know we have about 45 people in here right now. I just want to say thank you guys for spending your hour watching. I really appreciate you guys coming out here and learning about different alternative cards. There's so much out there between vintage and also these other sports as well. You don't always have to go after the modern cards, and that's what I really find interesting about these. So first, I know I didn't talk about this, but John Mangini has an amazing collection. I've watched a lot of his videos out there. I'm going to do a collector's react, I think this week or next week on your collection, man. So keep up the great work. Over here, we have Otani. Good show. Awesome stuff, guys. Didn't know about cricket cards. So about 6 months ago, I didn't even know about cricket cards until I was starting to research about Donald Bradman, and that's our addiction. Cricket James is special right now. Otani legend. Let's go over here. My first time in the cricket realm, very educational. Yeah, you're doing a great job, man. Me too, unless I was feeding them. Let's go over here. Do you collect any Australian BBL trading cards?
I haven't yet. I've seen the sets. I think that's kind of, maybe might be the next step there. Trying to learn more about these other leagues for sure.
So we go. It's Mike Jackson, 80 tops. A lot of comments to go through. We have about 4 more minutes. So you guys have any more questions or anything like that, put it down real quick and we'll try to answer it right before the stream ends. They're talking about music cards. There was a Palooza stream last night and one of the guests was collecting Jimi Hendrix cards, so they exist. I do want to get into music cards. I love rock music. You can see the Van Halen over here. I have an ELO, love classic rock. Maiko, nice job. Thanks, Mike. I know you did a Hobby Palooza as well. I need to watch that. That's cool autograph. Keep it up, Ryan. You're the best on YouTube today. Hey, I appreciate it, man. I know the beginning was really rough. I'm sorry about the connection issues, but I'm glad we're back at it. Rage says, thanks, Ryan and guests. Good shot, guys. All right, so we have 3 more minutes. Elite, John, do you guys want to go back on the stream as well? Just close it out. Just give me a thumbs up and I'll add you in here. All right, so we're going to add them to the stream real quick. We're going to have all 4 people here. So, guys, this was an hour talking about boxing, golf, and cricket. We have these 3 other collectors here. Make sure to follow them as well. And I really appreciate you guys spending your Sunday afternoon here on the stream. A lot of people learned a lot about different cards. And there's a lot more than just baseball, football, and hockey or basketball, right? Go out there, learn about different sports. Go out there and collect the vintage because there's only so much of it. Appreciate everyone coming out here. And again, Crown 24 is next on Hobby Palooza. Check out his channel for an awesome stream.
Thank you.
Thanks so much, everybody.
There we go.